difficult to make ends meet. That's all. In fact, when Tinubu called us to support him, he promised to make food cheap. You know, at that time we were being insulted. We are Agbadorians. We are this, we are that. You know. So we told him, we said, let us just produce food. And that's what he promised us. Only for him to come to power and then, in fact, only God understands what he's doing. That's his headache. I'm not leaving my party for anybody. Not at all. But I'm certainly not supporting him for 2027. And I'm going to make sure, going to gather with, it's not even PDP people. PDP is just a ridiculous party. They are not serious. It is us in APC who are deciding.
Nuisance Lele. Nuisance Lele.
Onokpasa. On top this Ashirauja called Tinubu. He is not the only one regretting. I mean, they have others too. From northern part of Nigeria, right? The lamentation is the same. They were in the same boat before, but the music has changed. So is the dance.
I think the first thing is to clarify the objective of setting up the coalition is not just to defeat President Tinubu and APC, but to rebuild Nigerian democracy. There is no need belaboring the issue. The point is that Nigerians are disappointed. APC came with a lot of promise, and being a founding member of APC, I can talk about that very authoritatively. We promised Nigerians to end insecurity. We promised Nigerians to end corruption. We've promised Nigerians to ensure that at the minimum, our democracy is functional. Unfortunately, here we are today in a situation when people talk about one-party state, I think they are being generous. The truth is that we don't even have a political party. APC itself, I don't regard it, and being there, I can say so authoritatively. Any party whose organ are not meeting is not a political party. And as it is, the first thing, and this is the first disappointment with President Tinubu, I'm one of those who hold him in very high regard. I thought all the mistake of President Buhari, he will be able to correct it. Unfortunately, here we are, he has elevated Buhari to a status of a national hero, largely because he himself almost came with unprepared. He is ruling the country almost impulsively, taking decision without any plan, you know, which is where we have landed in a situation whereby cost of living and income have been eroded, you know. So I think, coming back to your question, the whole objective of the coalition, and this is the negotiation going on, to ensure that at the minimum, the mistake of the past are not only corrected, but we don't resume politics almost as business as usual. We must have present to Nigerians a functional political party, one that can hold elected representative accountable. This is the negotiation going on, and agreement is almost concluded. In not too distant time, the whole coalition will be unveiled, and how we are going to mobilize Nigerians, how we are going to contest the election in 2027 will also be clarified to Nigerians. I think the
Right. Just so you know, to those who are talking coalition, they strongly believe that it's just going to be a matter of time before water will find its level. Meaning, despite all these differences, as well as the widespread tentacles of Tinubu in this political space, they still believe strongly that if they all come together, they can pull a win against the Kolu Tinubu. Otompolo kind of like disagrees. A young man who appeared on CNN, who was also giving his own idea of how Tinubu could actually be outed in 2027. told the CNN presenter this.
One of the ways by which we can defeat Tinubu in 2027 is to have a similar structure like INEC. Have representative in each and every polling unit. We have 176,848 polling units in Nigeria. We can have representatives in these polling units and collect the results from each of these polling units and compute them together. And then be ready for whatever INEC will produce or announce at the end of the day. If that what INEC will announce at the end of the day will not be similar to with what we have collected with our own result, then we can hit the streets and give Nigeria the revolution that it desires. Because then we have something to hold our hands on. We have the actual result of the election. Because if we cannot trust INEC to give us the actual result.
Do you understand that? It's quite an easy one, not so easy. Okay, so what these young people are sort of like planning or proposing is that if they manage to mobilize between 15 and 20 million Nigerians registered with their ID card, or what do you call it, the membership card given to them, as well as their voters card secured. Now, as an organization like that, like this, their obedience movement, right? If they have 20 million people of voting age, that is a time bomb. That is a problem. For any establishment that downplays that, definitely have no idea on whose stuff they are playing. And that's what they're about to make it now. So if you have 20 million ready-made supporters and voters across the country, right? It shouldn't be so hard to get 33 persons times 176,000 polling units. And that would be what? Hang on, that's still less than 600,000 people. So imagine if you have 600,000 people at every polling unit like he's proposing, collating all the results as they come out and blah, blah, blah like that. And then INEC decided to announce a fake result, which is what they do all the time, because they will tell you to go to court. But this time you're not going to any court. I've said something similar to that, that if they succeed in their membership drive as they are, because they will be the only authentic, original, verifiable group that will have such membership base, verified. Because they don't have to bribe anybody, they don't have to give anybody any money, right? Once you join, that means you volunteered, right? So even if you have spies in their group, in the group of 20 million, do you know how many kind of like a spies you will need? And in this case, you don't even probably like, it doesn't make sense to say you are trying to like send a spy into them to do what? Make all of them say they are not doing a game. So he's right. Now, if you want a revolution, you want something to hold on to, you want to chase the criminals out of everywhere, they will bring out their soldiers, bring out their guns and the rest. But with your millions of supporters and the evidence that you've been rigged out, it can actually be a revolution. He's right. You know, you do something to kind of like get something in that sense, I believe. You know, the Tinubu and his gang don't believe in that. You know, it sounds so easy and simple. The establishment possibly also anticipates that. In their own mind, one gun is equal to 100 people. So then get more guns. Get the militants to also get ready. And let's introduce violence. Meanwhile, the obedient themselves are relying on number. They say, listen, they can only rig you if you are not the majority at that place. And also, they can only intimidate you with their soldiers if they have just a handful of you on the streets. But where you have the hundreds of thousands and millions of you on the streets, even their soldiers will take off their uniforms and drop their guns and join you, relying on numbers. Here is one of the future foot soldiers or the current foot soldiers of Tinubu who believes that they don't care about how you feel about the economy or feel about the governance. As it is, arrangement is arrangement. Agreement is agreement. Tinubu will do 80 years. After that, you can talk about anything else. Here is another criminal who is a multi-billionaire. This guy makes 6 billion naira. That's how much cash they pay him. Tantiana Security Group is Stone Polo, the former militant leader in Niger Delta. And of course, a regular contractor for the Nigeria Ministry of Defense, Nigeria Ministry of Petroleum, Nigeria downstream, upstream sector. They pay him over 6 billion naira every month. This is a guy that actually collects monthly allocation that can be compared to some states in Nigeria on a regular basis. And they just have to renew the contract, or else Nigeria can kiss all their oil infrastructures in the Niger Delta. Goodbye. So here he is. They've scratched his back. When it's time to scratch Tinubu's back, this is Tompolo's view.
We will do our part. Even go out of our boundary, cross to the northern part of Nigeria to talk to our brothers so that he will get his second tenure. Tinubu is a good person. He has the experience to do everything to carry this country to the higher level. I am traveling across all the northern states to appeal to them. Buhari spent 8 years now. So we don't want anybody to cause any problem. Let Tinubu have his own 8 years too. And then we look for another person to come in. There is no need for anybody to say, no, we have the monopoly of power. No. We must allow Tinubu to do his 8 years, which will appeal to everybody. And by the grace of God, everybody will support us. Like the traditional rulers and everybody, both small and young here, who have endorsed Mr. President for his second term. The duly elected governor of Rivers State is coming back.
So that's a Tompolo. This one has done his own 8 years. This one will do his own 8 years. When you are hearing his own 8 years, his own 8 years, it simply means that agreement is agreement. But who made the agreement? With who? They have the capacity to rig, chase the real voters away, and then cook figures, right? But in it all, when it now comes to governance, the people are left on their own. I mean, if they put the same energy, that they usually put into rigging themselves into power, the violence and the rest, if they should put the same energy into governance, maybe Nigeria will be a little bit better than this. Don't you think? I mean, it should be better than, a little bit better than this. They are so dedicated when it comes to them planning, scheming, strategizing on how to take power. When it comes to governance, it is a different ballgame entirely. Right? Sure.
Thank you very much. I think I want to thank the leadership of the NBA for inviting us. The last time this was in Lagos, it was pre-planned that some candidates will appear, get clapped for, and the NBA will end this NBA conference. Thank you for bringing all the candidates. You can see these are the real candidates in this election. But I think you did one thing today. You wanted to see if any of us will fall asleep so that you can compare us to the old candidates. And I hope we disappointed you. Let me say very clearly, because there's no time, we must understand fundamentally what the Nigerian security architecture is about. Nigeria security is not meant for Nigerians. Nigeria security system is for the elites, those who empower. Nigeria security system, therefore, operates what is known as a police state. All our policemen, our electronic system, our investment in recruitment, the judiciary, is meant to protect those who are in charge of Nigeria, the owners of Nigeria. Abuja tells you all of it. You find more policemen about 1 mile square here than you can find where Boko Haram is ravaging Nigeria. I drove from Zamfara or was it Kebbi, to Sokoto, there was no single checkpoint. But if you threaten the Nigerian ruling class today, you will find that you have security in this country. And as most of you know, I'm a regular with the courts. I have over 3 criminal cases, including one that will come up tomorrow for cyber crime. I have another one, treasonable felony. My prosecutor before is seated here, SAN Liman, who prosecuted me unsuccessfully for treason, and after that he abandoned the prosecution. I haven't seen him until today. So I greet you. You are welcome. He's now representing Emiloko. And I must say to you as well that for us to get a Nigerian security system for the Nigerian people, the Nigerian people must be able to vote for a Nigerian leader. Because any leader that is voted for religious reason is going to be the leader for the religious movement. That is voted on ethnic basis can only represent his ethnic concern. Any leader that is voted on the basis of any primordial sentiment will only represent that primordial sentiment. That's why Nigeria is where it is today. Go and ask Ken Saro-Wiwa if you could reach him. Why did they kill him? For the Nigerian elite. They killed him because they thought their most important anointing oil, crude oil. They killed him for it. They would have killed me had case, because he was brought in to carry out that, but at a point he decided that he couldn't continue with it. And I must tell you that they will kill any one of you. And let me say this, because I know time is running out, that when it is time to protect the elite, you will find some of the best players in this country. You will find some of the best judges in this country. You will find some of the best policemen. In fact, when the elites are concerned, you will know that there are electronic devices listening to every device in this country. When the elites are concerned, you will find cameras that are working. But when it's for the Nigerian people, there's nothing that will work. But I would say also that in an attempt to cow the rest of us, they have also done the same. Because in an attempt, for instance, that we don't get to hear from the terror, also disable the listening devices because they are committing crime as well as this country. One last thing I will say, which is important, we have not gotten to a point where Nigerian leaders understand security. Because the first security, which I agree with everybody here, that human security. You cannot push 133 million people into multi-dimensional poverty and you are talking about security. It won't work. You cannot have an account general steal 150 billion and spend only 2 months in detention and is likely to be the governor of the state next time, and you can have security. You cannot have people above the law and some other ones beneath the law and expect security. So what Nigeria needs is a leader who understands the importance of human life first and foremost. Not a leader who has a high number of lawyers defending it. As I said, and I'll say finally here, there are great lawyers in this country, but ask yourself, which lawyer has a pro bono service to defend poor people in this country? Most of them know. When NSAS happened, the Nigerian Bar Association did not raise a team to defend NSAS victims across the country. I'm saying it to you. If you have, show the person to me. While NSAS was going on, they were doing meetings with Spidel in Ibadan and having great conferences. And I must thank the Nigerian Bar Association. You guys have some of the greatest conferences every year. Here you spend 1.something billion.
I'd like to stop you there, Mr.
Conferences, but it is time to start spending that money on poor people, defending them and getting them out of jail.
Thank you. Stop you there. I'd like also to.
Sure. Oh, vintage. Anyway, he's very right. When the people have no rights or power to actually choose their own leaders, a situation whereby the rigged system continues to shun out criminals whose selfish and personal interests supersedes the interests of the people. You know, people who have no empathy, no sympathy, no nothing, like almost like they do not have any human sort of like a feelings at all. They ended up in power, treat people terribly, and also leave them in the hands of the same terrorists who have established an industry in Nigeria. Live. Social whatever is right. The people of Otobiakpa in Benue State, I believe. You remember them? They have been under the constant attacks from the Fulani terrorists, and we have been reading about that in the news. And